And you see, when you sit down and give yourself time to think, give the self space, give the mind space to spiral, to do whatever that it seems to want to do wherever it wants to go, and and you start to notice and understand that these thoughts have almost like a life of their own, um, without you in the picture, and and that's quite fascinating, both fascinating and profound, and just kind of allowing them that agency that which they seem to want to follow. It's almost as if we're trained to capture and bottle up these thoughts, and either through judgment of them or whatever, or wanting to possess them because they are, pleasurable thoughts, amazing thoughts. So you can kind of see the ego is almost like a little child that's saying, "Gimme, gimme, gimme," or like, or some kind of aversion to those thoughts, and fear of realizing the vast aloneness of the nature of experience. So when you say gimme, 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 it's almost like you're worshiping a genie. Um, you kind of worshiping a little bit of a genie inside your thoughts, not in the classical sense, but a conceptual genie. Um, and this genie's job is to, in a sense, grant you those wishes through giving you worldly agency and perceived autonomy to act out, and go and seek these goals in life, and simultaneously in pursuit of these goals, the genie is also here to play a little trick on you. Um, in this case, you are also the genie playing the trick on yourself. So, so you see the thing about these little folk tales and stories and biblical um, parables and also these narrative constructs in these scriptures, um, they are maps. They're maps, not literal. They're almost like maps that reveals the mechanics of the lower dimensions, as you might say. Um, and that's the thing about planet Earth. It's almost like we are Earth's thoughts. Um, so we're here on the surface of this round spherical ball, floating ball that's in space, and we're all collectively, you know, fine-tuning the stream of energy that lands within each of our unique vessel, to give it some kind of manifestations, whether we choose to do it in a healthy way or an unhealthy expression of it. But you are essentially just a single node, a single receptor of the field of consciousness from the earth, and you also play into that feeding back to affect how that energy is expressed collectively. So when that energy gets embodied, whether it's in a plant or a human king or an animal or an ant or even some kind of minerals in the ground, in the soil, each single expression of that took a process of descent to descend into this conduit. The conduit here being our atomatized configuration. So we seem to think consciousness is emergent from our neural activity. But here I'd like to suggest that we are, in a sense, biological computers. Um, all our cells are compute, um, distributed compute that configures and reconfigures the field around us and within us based on how we receive Earth's energy, um, based on the blueprint each of us were given. And when we come from that framing, we can, somehow bypass the. And when we come from that framing, we can somehow see beyond the mechanism. We're kind of no longer at the mercy of those mechanisms. Not through denial, but simply by witnessing, and simply giving space to whatever wishes to emerge to serve you a kind of great revelation, in a sense, and each single one of those are in fact lived fully when you can allow that revelation to spark a new beginning, a new temporal beginning for this energetic manifestation. And that's the entire process of alchemy. To in a sense, honor your affective experience, to honor your cognitive churning, to allow them that entire process, that entire journey of being received and released. That's the entire process of alchemy. It's no magic trick. It's nothing hard, nothing complicated. All the complication is just a little bit of a little money grab, as you might say. Different courses, different coaches, different institutions, different churches, different. Not to say that any one of this stuff is bad. It serves as really good community, but we need to play a little trick to hold that community and possess that community, successfully possess that community for an extended period of time, for an extended duration. So obviously some of us need that trick to stay grounded, and others can consciously navigate. Depends on preference. and capacity. So both preference and capacity plays into this. But I'd like to say we don't want to be lazy. We don't want to be lazy at taking the initiative on honoring that process fully. Um, because when we do get lazy, we we take these little cognitive shortcuts and emotional shortcuts for the beauty to water down the beauty of the entire journey, and that comes with all its little dysfunctions and maladaptations. So we can already tell and start to kind of see the big picture here, from how these quote unquote toxic patterns start to emerge or come to be. Many neuroscience will, sit down and say, oh, it's because of this childhood wound, and all of this. Not to say that these are wrong, but there are like lots more subtle nuances that's just being skimmed over, which it's the subtleties of a situation often over an extended duration of time sometimes go unnoticed, almost like you start to be the fish that doesn't know that he's swimming in water. So but the water is kind of dominating his entire experience. But we can collectively create this felt sense of conscious distributed alchemy. However aspirational that might sound, but remember, it's all lived. It's all lived.